Tonight, guys, we have none other than a very, very good friend of mine. If he could not be more closer to me than my vein in my neck, and I really mean that. I met him over a decade ago. Young man, determined. He just a short story. He came to my club, and once we met, he reminded me of me, because no matter where I go, I always ask people what you do for a living. Or do you do this? Do you do this? And the first thing he asked me after our introduction was, what kind of insurance do you have? Do you have life insurance?
Yeah.
And the way he approached me, I felt that like, okay, this is a guy who's really about his business. It's not about the fun time in the club. I'm in there networking. I'm trying to find clients. And that's exactly what he was doing. And for some reason, that struck me as gold. So from that moment on, we started talking about life insurance, business insurance. We developed this relationship. It became more like family.
A brotherhood.
And he came to me and said, you know something? If I can do this insurance thing, I can sell stocks on Wall Street, which was a huge leap from a guy who's living in Miami to say, I'm moving to New York to be a stockbroker. You know what I'm saying? Like, so for me, I'm wrapping my head around what he's saying, and at the same time, I'm supporting him because he did it. He grinded out. Like, his story is amazing. Like, his story is a movie. It really is a movie. From the move from Miami to New York to, and you know, when you're dealing with like stocks and trying to be a stockbroker, you're going to intern. You work for free. Am I right?
Yes.
For a certain amount of time, you work for free.
Mm-hmm.
You got to prove yourself to the company that you can do this. And he did it. He went to New York. He accomplished everything he wanted to accomplish. Right now, he is a multi-millionaire. He owns millions of dollars in real estate. He has multi-million-dollar clients. Like I cannot say enough about him because I watched him when he started from nothing. Yeah. I'm talking about from just a thought.
Yeah, conversation.
The cause of it all. He started from a thought, and it grew from there. So right now, I'm gonna turn the platform over to you. Don't hold back, man. Talk your shit. Because I'm proud of you, man. Like,
I appreciate that.
Before, I mean, you're not even fucking 40 yet.
37.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's true.
Married, 2 wonderful children.
Yep.
Like, come on, man. Talk your shit.
I appreciate that. So yeah, when we started talking, the funny thing is, you were talking about lose to win and how you wanted to do something bigger. And we connected because it wasn't just, I met you at the club, but you were bigger than the club. I thought you were the owner of the club. Because the way you carry yourself was you took care of everybody.
Yes, sir.
And you always cared about your family, your kids. You bragged and loved your kids. Like, you're a father through and through, and you make sure that your family's taken care of.
Yes,
and I've seen you overcome adversity. So when I said I was moving to New York, I moved to New York with 3 suitcases, a box of books, and $1,000. And I sat down for my interview, and the guys were like, I see you worked at Bank of America and JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley, you know, Guardian in Florida, but now you have a Brooklyn address. Like, how does that work? And I said, listen, I came out here on faith and work ethic. I'm not going back.
Absolutely.
You want to take the island, you burn the boats. And he's like, man, the ball's on this kid. Get in the paperwork. That was it. That was my interview. Like, that was all I had to do. And from there, it's been faith and work ethic. You know, I got my Series 7, 66, I have my life insurance.
Now explain to them what a Series 7 is.
Okay, so Series 7 allows you to buy and sell stocks, bonds, and funds as a licensed registered representative.
So how deep do they go to critique you and your character and your background in order to do that?
Oh, you have to go full background checks, credit checks. You can't get financial jobs with bad credit. You say it again, Mo. There are people who want to get in the finance industry who are qualified, who have all the credentials, and they'll pull your credit.
Wow. I didn't know that.
So at one point, I co-signed for something for a family member. And because that wasn't in order, I had jobs that turned me down in the past.
Wow.
Because the credit, even though it wasn't my fault, it reflected on my credit.
Right. Absolutely.
Man.
Absolutely. Wow.
That's saying how important credit is. And it's funny because I know, with Pleasant Management, you're actually helping me on my own credit.
Absolutely.
You're helping me build my credit. You navigated me before I became a multi-millionaire and buying properties and things like that. As you said, I was working with you and talking to you, and you were guiding me with the credit.
Yes,
so I really want to give thanks to you with everybody. I want you to know, if it wasn't for Tim Gordon and Pleasant Management, the guidance, the information, the help, the assistance, I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
Appreciate that.
Really appreciate that.
I remember when you bought that multi-million-dollar property in Brooklyn, when you first told me about it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, for me, and again, to wrap my head around it, because I've never purchased a multi-million-dollar property that actually needed $1 million worth of renovations. So while we're having this conversation, and you're telling me how you're going to convert this property from a 4-family to a 6-family, and you're going to do this, and it costs $1 million to do that. Those are the kind of conversations that I love to have with people.
Yeah.
Because even though whatever we did for you, you inspired me to do better.
Yeah.
You really do.
Yeah. And iron sharpens iron. It's in the word, iron sharpens iron. You're pushing me, I'm pushing you, and we're advancing the culture and everyone together. So, it's because of that collaboration versus competition we're moving forward.
So tonight's topic is investment for beginners. And I chose that topic for a reason. Oftentimes we feel like we have to have an X amount of dollars in order to invest.
It's wrong.
Like my son is sitting next to me right now. He's a St. Louis police officer. His base salary is $45,000 a year, but he does double that amount in secondary work. So my son brings in about $130,000 a year.
Okay.
So right now we're beginning the process of investing in property. But by him being young, and by young I mean under 40, I think it's time for him to start thinking about diversifying into stocks and bonds, because at the end of the day, there is no guarantee that you're going to retire as a police officer.
No, not at all.
There's no guarantee. No employment is guaranteed. One day you can wake up and decide, I don't want to do this anymore. It's too dangerous. I put my life on the line for peanuts. I'm tired of this. And so I
think was this. One thing I realized working on Wall Street, wealth and poverty is a mindset. We're trained and conditioned to work, to first go to school, to find a job, to work for 30, 40, 50 years, and then enjoy our retirement. When all actuality, what wealthy people do is go to school, have earned income, take their earned income and turn it into passive and portfolio income. Wow. In other words, how do you make your money work for you? How do you hire your money? So you're saying investing for beginners. There are all kind of free brokerage firms now: Fidelity, E-Trade, Scottrade, TD Ameritrade. Research and find what works best for you, what you like. You can start investing right now. You don't need to wait. You put money in a savings account, you might get 5% now, but in the past, you got peanuts on a dollar.
Peanuts.
You invested in the S&P 500, the historical returns on the S&P 500. I'll tell you right now, these numbers are between 6 to 8%. Let's look at. I'm going to tell you what Google's saying, because I don't want you guys to quote me. I'm going to Google it while I'm here with you.
And you have to break down, even though I understand, but break down what S&P 500 is.
So Standard & Poor's has an index of 500 stocks. And that index, when you invest in all of those companies across the board. So you're investing in the index, and it allows you to participate in their returns. So you're investing in the S&P, and if you average 8 to 10%, according to the rule of 72, you'll double your money every 8 to 10 years.
Wow.
If not faster.
Right.
So it all depends on the average returns of your investment.
Wow.
So, you have to take into effect risk, the downside. If you lose money, you have to double it to make it back with whatever the loss was.
But you're in for the long term, though. You're in for the long term.
You have to be in it for the long term. So in that sense, they have this strategy called dollar cost averaging, which means you're going to put the same amount of money in every single month. That's what you guys do with the 401ks and your retirement plans. You don't even know it. They take the same amount of money out of your paycheck and they put it into a retirement plan. What you don't know is you're capped out at a certain dollar amount with a 401k plan.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that. People
don't know. you can't invest more than, let's see what the 401k cap is right now. And I want to do this. So you're getting the information from Google.
Right. I didn't know that. I always thought 401k just grows as you with the company, but
it grows as you're with the company. But the most you can put in your 401k in 2024 right now is $23,000.
$23,000.
So you're capped. However,
wow.
Yeah,
but my son just said he put in too much.
No, he needs to. You need to max it out, because if there's a 401k match,
he said he make that in 2 months doing his secondary work, 23,000.
But look,
that's crazy.
There's other accounts. There are SEP accounts and IRA accounts and other accounts you can invest in to participate in retirement growth. Right. But you can also invest in your own brokerage account where you're not capped. So if your son makes 120, let's say, one of the things I tell people is not how much you make, it's how much you keep. You keep your expenses.
Say it again. Say that again.
It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep.
Not how much you make is how much you keep. Okay.
So that's why having a budget and understanding your income versus your expenses is so important. Because once you can keep more than what you're making, that's when you have income to invest.
Right.
It doesn't matter if you make 100,000 or 10,000. If you know how to manage your money and budget, you'll have something left over.
So you got to have that financial discipline.
Yes.
Well, what I do with my daughter, my oldest daughter recently, because she was complaining to me about she was living paycheck to paycheck. Mm-hmm. So I told my daughter, I said, listen, come to my house, which she did. We took a pen and paper and we wrote down everything she spends money on, from her rent to her car note, all the way down, right? What we discovered is that she was spending about $300 plus a week on DoorDash. She was spending $1,200
a month
on DoorDash.
Some months could be $1,500, depending. It's a 52-week year.
She was spending, her car note and her rent combined was like $1,500 a month, so and she was spending $1,200 a month on DoorDash.
Wow.
So once we discovered that, it was like, oh, wow, Dad, I'm not living paycheck to paycheck. I'm living, I haven't prioritized where my money go. We even looked at the apps that she subscribed to. It's a lot. She's never at home, never. Between work, and my daughter loves money, so she always side hustles. Like she DoorDash, she Ubers.
Yeah.
She's always out. But you're paying for Hulu and Netflix and subscriptions you're not even watching because you're not home to watch.
So you're throwing the money away.
Absolutely away. Me and my wife in December, we did a whole financial revamp where her and I both went through all the subscription services we had. We went through everything that we're paying money for. Like we had 2 different gym memberships. It wasn't using neither one. It's like, why are we paying $125 here, paying $75 here?
Yeah.
Double. And we're not even going to the gym because we travel so much, we wasn't going to the gym.
Wow.
So we canceled that out. It was so much that we had to go back and review and cancel. And I think a lot of people, they don't understand really how much money they're throwing out the window when they say I'm broke, because we know broke is a mentality.
So it's funny. It's funny you say that. And because, I have the financial planning background with the CLU and the CHFC and all those designations, all that lets someone know is I've studied, I've taken tests, and I do this. The important part is before people start investing, there's steps you need to take.
Right.
You only invest money you're willing to lose or you can afford to not need. You should never invest your rent money, your bill money, your expenses. Like you have, reoccurring expenses every month. Before you invest, if you have a 2-family income household or more, you should save up to 3 months of expenses.
Right.
If you're on 1 income, you should save 6 months. In my personal opinion, you should have a year's worth put away. Because once you have a foundation and you're working from a position of strength, then you start investing. So ideally, the budgeting is the foundation for investing, because you have to budget, know your income and your expenses, save a certain amount. Then after you meet your savings goal, that's when you start investing. If you take what you need to invest, then you're in a bad position. Now you're borrowing money and you're going to be paying interest, or you have issues with friends because you borrowed money and you haven't paid it back. So the key would be understand your financial picture, budget, then start investing. When you invest, Warren Buffett has a quote. He said, and I want to quote Warren directly.
The GOAT.
Yeah, listen, one of the greatest ever. He said, consistently buy the S&P 500. He said, if I was gone, I would tell people invest in the S&P 500.
Wow. So I'm gonna tell you how I got started with investment.
Mm-hmm.
I started with an app called Acorn.
Okay.
And what Acorn does, it takes you enroll your debit and credit cards.
Okay.
And every time you swipe your debit and credit cards, it rounds it off to the nearest dollar, and it takes that change, and it puts it into an invested, right? Mm-hmm. So I started with Acorn about 2 years, and also I contribute $35 a month to the Acorn account.
Okay.
So this is what first trained me to investing, because I understand that with investing, it's like invest and forget.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Invest and forget. Like this, it's not a savings account.
Habit. We're creatures of habit. So if you don't create the habit of investing, or you don't create the habit of saving, you'll never do it. It's like working out. If you don't create the habit of getting up and working out every day, you'll never do it.
You'll never do it. You'll never do it. So I started with Acorn. I've been with them for about 2 years. I want to say I started with $500. Okay. And I just posted my Acorn account a couple of days ago. Right now, my Acorn account is about $2,700 in 2 years. And that's just from roundups and that $30 a month contribution, right? $35 a month contribution. Thank you, son. You be careful. I love you. And then from there, when I worked at Family Dollar as a store manager, you know how they do the share stock employee thing?
Yeah.
I was able to get stocks at a discount. So I said, okay, I'm gonna do it. Even though I don't work for them anymore, I still had that stock.
You're going to because
last checked, and I'm not gonna lie, Dollar Tree is a good stock.
You said it, not I.
Dollar Tree is a good stock. It's treated me well because in the last year gains, it's right around $1,400 in a year in gains.
Wow.
And that's the only stock I have that's with Charles Schwab. So my next goal is, and I told my wife this the other day, my next goal is we're going to take about $3,500, get in contact with Charles Schwab and have them diversify that $3,500 in the S&P 500. I've been doing some reading on the S&P, and I'm doing this not for me, but for her. And I think a lot of times when it comes to stocks that, like, with insurance, like you don't want to talk to me about insurance. We leave as a people, we leave billions of dollars on the table just because we refuse to get life insurance. And we do for people
the wealthy families use life insurance for everything.
Listen, because we have this.
People think life insurance is a bad thing. There's living benefits, there's death benefits.
And I think we need to, could you explain the difference between life insurance, living benefits, and death benefits? Because I never heard of living benefits and death benefits. Can you explain the difference?
Living benefits is what you can participate while you're alive. For example, if you have a permanent life insurance policy and you build up, whereas cash value or equity in a policy, it's equivalent to having equity in a real estate property, or stock. So what has been found for wealthy individuals, they'll have a home equity line of credit and they'll borrow against the equity in their house. You don't pay taxes on that because you're taking out a loan. Same with a stock portfolio. You can have a stock portfolio like Elon Musk, case in point. He has a portfolio. He borrowed against his stock to buy Twitter.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know that.
And with life insurance, same thing. If you have a term policy, you can't do it because it'll elapse. If you have a permanent policy, you can actually borrow against your life insurance policy. That's what people call infinite banking. When they say create your own family bank.
Now you're stepping into something that we really need to know about, because we hear about these things on social media, infinite banking and these terms, and people don't really understand what it is. And you got people on social media that not even qualified to even sell you a policy, but they're charging you for the information. So can you get in deeper about the infinite banking?
So I want to make sure I read this.
Mm-hmm.
Infinite banking involves using permanent life insurance coverage. And I'm reading from Google. I'm just giving you guys information from the internet.
Right.
It's available to everyone. The problem is we don't know where to look.
That's right.
So what we really need to understand and use more than everything, when we were younger, we had to go to the library, check a book out, find it, and then get the information. Now information is at your fingertips.
That's right.
We
That's
need
right.
critical thinking,
That's right.
problem solving. So according to this definition, infinite banking involves permanent life insurance coverage. But what it means is you have a permanent policy and you can borrow against that permanent policy to fund your other endeavors and ventures.
But we never ever heard about a permanent insurance. This was the first time I've ever even heard the term permanent insurance. I've heard term life.
Yeah, term life is because it's over a term.
A term, right.
So
as a matter of fact,
20 year, 30 year, it can elapse.
As a matter of fact,
policy is
certain people that have outlived, like my father.
Mm-hmm.
My father had term life insurance that was to 75, but my father lived to be 78. They canceled his insurance at 75.
Yeah, it's over because the term is up. But here's the thing. At 78, his cost of insurance is going to be so high.
Absolutely, it was.
So with life insurance, think about life insurance like a mortgage. With a mortgage, you lock in your rate and your payment. With life insurance, the earlier you get it, you lock in your rate and your payment at an earlier age when you're healthier.
Right.
That's the best time to get it. Right. So if people want to think, what should I do? You need to get life insurance.
Right.
You need to get disability insurance. Protect your income, protect your life, protect your assets.
That's right.
Then you start investing. Because how many people we've seen pass away, we have the t-shirts and GoFundMe accounts. And we're pulling money together to pay for
every day. Every day.
Versus they spend $5, $10 a month, $20 a month on life insurance policy. Now your family's inheriting, $500,000, $1 million because you protected yourself.
I tell people right now to this day, when people ask me about the generational wealth gap, I tell them single-handedly, the generational wealth gap is life insurance.
It'll make a big difference.
It makes a huge. My neighbor next door, her mom just passed. She got 1.5 million. House for sale. She's out of her, like
tax-free.
Paid off her son's student loans.
Because life insurance.
Because one thing we know for sure is that
definitely
we're gonna die. It's a
guarantee. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like with you. You're married, you have 2 children, you have a wife. I'm pretty sure you set yourself up with a solid life insurance policy to take care of your loved ones in the behest that something happens.
Now here's what people don't know. Not only just that, you can get your kids' life insurance before they're 1. And it grows and the cash value grows with them.
Oh, wow. Expand on that, please.
So you have like Gerber Life, or there's a few policies. Gerber, I'm going to tell you right now.
So I can get my insurance policy on my baby.
Yes.
And as my child gets older, the insurance policy matures.
It appreciates with your child.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's Gerber Life, Globe Life. Like these are all different companies that insure children, but multiple insurance companies can insure children. There's just certain companies that start off and that cater to the youth insurance policy. But these are permanent policies.
Right. And that's the thing people have to realize is that you have term life, and you have permanent.
So if you get a permanent policy for your kid at a young age, the cost of insurance is virtually nothing.
Right.
And I don't say virtually, it's very low. Let's just keep it a little more.
Oh, so you have a baby, 6 months old. You get permanent insurance. You're paying, say, $10 a month.
Something like that, yep.
From 6 months old to 18 years old. They could be coming off with a nice piece of change by the time they're 18.
By the time they get to college.
And they can borrow against their insurance.
Yes.
Oh, wow. I never knew that.
You can set your family up for success.
Okay, so if you were talking to your sibling, say little brother, little sister, 21 years old, they had $1,000. They have insurance. They got $1,000. They have a decent job for their age. They have no dependents. And they approach you and say, okay, big bro, I got $1,000. How should I invest? Like, what advice would you give to me to start my journey between now and retirement?
So it's very interesting you say that, because I have, I'm the first of 5.
I know. I know.
I have my sister, I have my other sister, they're always asking me questions about it. So, I start them off with exactly what I told you. You have to start off going over your budget, talk about what your interests are. And when you want to invest, what people don't know is you have an edge in certain areas. You just forget that. You're a subject matter expert in an area that I'm not. And my brother's an engineer. My sister went to NYU. My other sister studied marketing. My other brother's doing nanotechnology. So there's things that you know about your subject matter and your reference that you should start from. So start from where you are. Invest in things that you use every day. If you're gonna buy Nikes, you might as well get paid for it.
Wow.
Like buy things that you are actively consuming, because you know what the user experience is like.
Right.
Like, start looking at areas, like you said, you worked at Dollar Tree. If you're shopping at Dollar Tree, why not think about
stocks,
being a part of the ownership of Dollar Tree?
Right. That's right.
Participate. I'm not telling you to buy it or not buy it. I'm saying if you're using something,
why not get involved in it?
Yeah, like own it. One thing we don't have, and especially if you look at it, the Black community has billions of dollars of buying power. And one thing we lack consistently is ownership.
You're right.
So, without ownership, you really don't have any other say.
You're right. I see the video today with Noriega from Drink Champs, right? From the show Drink Champs. So Noriega was at the Louis Vuitton store.
Yeah.
And he bought a bunch of Louis Vuitton, spent thousands of dollars on Louis Vuitton. Then he went to the Rolex store and he got his first presidential Rolex.
Yeah.
And then based off what you said, I'm asking myself, well, since you just spent $30,000 plus at Louis Vuitton, do you have stocks? Louis Vuitton.
Yeah.
You just spent $50,000, $60,000 for a Rolex watch, but do you have stocks in Rolex?
And I'll tell you this, Bernard Arnault is, he goes back and forth with Elon Musk as the wealthiest person in the world.
Absolutely, he does.
The luxury market and his stock has appreciated so much. If you bought the asset versus buying the security, you should find out and see how that would perform. But by owning the stock, he didn't get to be the richest man in the world at one point in time, between whatever valuation Elon is and he is on a particular day. But he didn't get to the point of being 1 or 2 by not owning the stock and having the stock appreciate.
Wow. So you telling me that $30,000 he spent in Louis Vuitton product is going to depreciate if you would about $30,000 worth of Louis Vuitton stocks?
Well, no, I'm not saying that, because you know what? I heard Chanel bags are worth a lot more now than they were 5-10 years ago. Because I was like, man, I'm gonna go look for one. And she wanted it, and I'm surprised. I'm not gonna tell her when I'm gonna get it. But
right.
I think it was 3,000-4,000 now, 7,000, 8,000, 10,000. Like, so the luxury market is still holding its value.
Right.
In comparison, did it outperform the stocks? You might be able to spend on it and consume it, but also own it. Right. What I'm saying is, you want to start investing, make your budget, build your habits, start from where you are. Start investing. And if you don't know where to invest, Warren Buffett said it: invest in the S&P.
So you said something very important. You said first, build your budget.
Yes.
Know where your money is going. Know what's coming in. Know what's going out.
Yeah.
Build your budget. It takes a lot of discipline to do that, to build your budget.
Well, if you want to create wealth, if you want to start investing, the battles are won and lost before they're fought. That's what Sun Tzu said.
Absolutely.
So if you don't have a plan or a strategy, and you're just throwing, things on the wall, you don't know where you're going, why you're investing in this, you're gonna lose it.
Right.
And then you're gonna be mad that you lost the money.
You're absolutely right.
However, if you have a plan, like, you know what, why do you like a stock? Like, the most important thing behind investing is a thesis. What's your investment thesis? In other words, what's your strategy? What's your why? Why are you doing this? And people don't understand themes. So one thing I wanted to say is there's things you need to know before you start investing, things you need to know about. You need to know about the 10-year treasury, because the 10-year treasury impacts the dollar. The 10-year treasury impacts mortgage rates, risk-free rates, foreign currency. People talking about Forex. If you understand how Forex works, understand the 10-year treasury. You have a good idea of where the dollar works, and the dollar works inverse to other foreign currencies.
So what exactly is the 10-year treasury? What is that, to break it down?
So it's a 10-year treasury note. It's a bond from the United States government that's backed by the full faith. And you know what? Let me go back to Google, make sure I give you guys information from the internet.
I love that. You want to be accurate.
You know what?
Well,
it's not just accuracy. It's also, people don't understand, when you work on Wall Street, you're a registered representative, it's not that we don't want to give you information. There's so much red tape on what we can and can't say.
Can't say. That's right. And I want everybody out there to understand, like, it's a lot of things that he really can and can't say, because he is an actual Wall Street broker. You know what I'm saying? Like he's not a Wall Street trapper. As I listen, this ain't no guru on no Wall Street trapper type situation. Like, this is a real deal, built it from the mud. I'm in New York on Wall Street every day. This is what I do. As a matter of fact, your average client liquid wealth has to be about how much?
5 million net worth or more?
5 million. His average client has to have 5 million liquid for him to have a conversation with him.
And on top of that, it's not just that. Before I could even have a conversation about investments, or anything about investing, ideas, opportunities, they have to receive disclosures. We have Reg BI disclosures. I have to disclose them because I'm also 66. So as an asset or investment advisor representative, aka money manager, I have to send disclosures on that. So there's so much that we have to disclose you before we can open the lines of communication, have a conversation. Like, I can't just start talking to you. It's against the rules.
Right.
If you want more information, if you want more education, I can give you a one-on-one session after being disclosed. That's when we can have the conversation.
Right.
Before then, every representative has to abide by those rules. If not, you could lose your license. So
that's why it's such a benefit to have him on this live right now, because you're literally getting it from an expert in the industry. You know what I'm saying? It's not one of those guys that, I only deal with rich niggas, or you know what I'm saying? Like, this is the real deal. It's not one of them guys that just throw options trading out there, or put your money in this and put your money in that. Like, nah. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you this, options trade
industry.
Yeah, options trades are beneficial because it's based on a derivative. And a derivative means that the option is going to move on the derivative, which is the stock. So if the stock moves up, the option will move up. If the stock moves down, the option will move down, or depending on what kind of option you're buying. So I can go into that in another session.
Right.
If you want me back.
We'll do it next month. Absolutely.
Yeah, or it could be a
kind of big right now. Like, it's becoming kind of big.
I could educate people on what options are, because what I really want to do is, you teach a man to fish versus fishing for a man.
That's right.
Teach a man to fish he can eat for the rest of his life. So
right.
My goal is teaching you not what to think, but how to think. So, what I'm about to tell you, the 10-year treasury note, as Google, not me giving anybody any recommendation. This is not a recommendation to buy or sell.
Right.
There's risk associated with any investments that are not FDIC insured. I'm making sure I say that. There's risk and there's rewards, and I'm gonna keep doing that.
That's right.
Because I want to come back, man. I don't want to not show up next week. What happened to him? He gave the wrong information. The Fed showed up. We're not doing that. So the 10-year treasury note is a debt obligation issued by the United States government with a maturity of 10 years upon initial issuance. So that means the government needs to borrow money, and they're giving you a loan. You're giving the government a loan, and they're paying you a certain interest. They're saying government loans are basically or initially riskless because they're backed by the full faith of the United States government. So that basically, that's the only thing where we can't say the G word on Wall Street, on the financial, we can't say guarantee.
Wow.
You know, we can't guarantee anything.
Right. That's right.
This is the most riskless transaction, or the closest to having the least amount of risk, because it's the highest rated, you know, debt in the world. So the government give the government a loan at a certain interest rate, they promise to pay you back. And they, based on that interest rate, that's how you're getting your money back in addition to the loan.
So that would be something great for people that have children.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that'd be something great for them, especially because we talk about something that's long term. And that's what people understand about investment. Like, most people think about
this, what happened with SVB Bank and all these other banks. If the interest rates move up and down, it can affect the price of the bond. It can affect the security. So what I wanted to go over is this. You want to understand the 10-year treasury, because the 10-year treasury impacts foreign currencies because it impacts the dollar, and the relationship of 10-year treasury and the dollar directly affect foreign currencies. The 10-year treasury affects mortgage rates. The 10-year treasury affects, you know, it's the risk-free rate. So it's the basis or the foundation for everything else when it comes to the loan investment. So whenever you're looking at loans or things of that nature, if you understand what the 10-year treasury is doing and the 30 years doing, you can know what mortgage rates are going to be. You can have an idea of it. It doesn't guarantee it, but it gives you an idea of the direction. So it's like saying, you got to know the street sign. There's a stop sign, there's a red light, green light, yellow light. Right. If you understand how things are moving, understand where it's going, you can position yourself accordingly. Like, look at the crude oil, WTI. Crude oil impacts the energy sector. So if crude is going down, the price of energy is going down. That means your gas prices are going down. Right. But if you know what oil companies are doing and you know crude oil is going up, and you say, you know what, wow, crude oil is going on, maybe I should buy some stocks in the energy space. And you make money off of that because you're watching how the market's moving. You're watching how the 10-year treasury is moving. So you're watching, and interest rates impact everything as well, because with higher interest rates, the cost of capital is higher, which means it's going to cost you a lot more to borrow money, or there's less liquidity in the system. So as an investor, you have to do your homework. It's not about just throwing money here, throwing money there. You have to do your homework. You have to have your thesis or your why you're investing in a particular thing. Absolutely. Because you want to know, okay, why am I putting money in this stock, or why am I putting money in that stock? Like, so that's what I would tell my siblings about that. I never thought about that. But that's the way. One thing about individuals going to law school, whenever I speak to attorneys, they always talk about it teaches you to think a certain way. So as an individual who's on Wall Street, who's managing assets and dealing with clients, we look and we take in information, because what they call smart money uses this information to make decisions. So you have to educate yourself on other aspects and every aspect of the market to understand how to make better decisions. Nothing is guaranteed for you to win. However, the harder you work, in essence, the luckier you'll get, is what they call it. So if you know that the price of the WTI or crude or oil or energy is going to go from, let's say, a lower amount to a higher amount, I don't want to give any dollar amounts and price targets. If you participate in that, then you're positioning yourself to benefit. If you know it's going to cost, interest rates, when interest rates are when the higher interest rates are, then it affects the market. When they started raising rates, the market sold off. So quick question. As an investor, if interest rates increase, do I make money or lose money? It depends. And that's a great question. It always depends, because what people don't know is you can make money every different type of way in the market. There are people who are shorting stocks. So if interest rates go up and the stock starts to come down and you short the stock, you'll sell at a higher price and you buy back lower. So you can make money when the stocks are going down.
Okay.
If you want to just buy stocks or long stocks, you'll buy hoping you get a higher price later. But if you're shorting, you'll sell at a higher price, hoping to buy back lower. So all depends on what I said earlier, your strategy, your thesis, your why. So you have to know what you want to do, because once you start educating yourself or working with an advisor, there's so many ways to make money. We just don't know about it.
Right.
So once you think about it, you understand the different ways to make money, then you can position yourself to make money.
Right.
Once you have the information, once you know how, the S&P, the importance of it, once you understand the Dow Jones, you have NASDAQ, once you have the knowledge of these indices and understand why a certain index, what it comprises of.
Right.
Knowing what stocks are in a certain index is very important, because that index has certain positions in stocks that are moving it.
Now, I could say here in St. Louis, one of the biggest investment firms here in St. Louis is A.G. Edwards.
Okay.
They have, this is like their home office here in the city.
Mm-hmm.
I dealt with them years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the second time I was probably a millionaire. I dealt with them years ago, and they did good by me. You know what I'm saying? But I think at that time, as you say, I wasn't educated enough, because I'm saying, and this is a true story. 15 years ago, I had Apple stock. You know what I'm saying? 15 years ago, I had, you know what I mean?
Wow.
I had Dell stock, and I ended up having to sell it all, because like most hustlers, you know what I'm saying? You hustle, you fall off, and you start selling everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I sit back and I think now, like, man, if I still just had that one single Apple stock.
So here's another thing. You could have borrowed against the stock instead of selling it.
And see, I didn't know that.
The reason why, I do financial education, because I work with the 1%. That's great. The 99%, the information is invaluable. And if you can teach a wealth mindset, a wealth or information to individuals, you can make a difference in their lives. So by knowing not when to invest and how to invest, I won't give you price targets because I can't unless you're a client.
Right.
Or recommendations, because those are actionable. I'm not giving you actionable information with a specific security. I'm making sure I say that again. I'm giving you information to help you think about different things. If you know how to interpret and consume and think about the information in order to apply it to a particular investment or opportunity, it's important, because the best investment decisions you make are the ones you're educated about.
That's right.
I still educate my clients on certain things because I want them to know before every intelligent investor knows what they're investing in. So it's important to say, you know what, I understand this. So the education is as if not more important than the actual information.
Right. That's right.
Because once you educate on it, you know how to act on it. And if you're an intelligent investor, or if you're educated on investing, then you can make good decisions. Look what happened in the crashes. People were saying, I didn't know that. I didn't understand what's going on. And greed is one thing. Ignorance is another.
That's deep. That's deep.
Greed, everybody want to vilify Wall Street, but you knew what you were doing when you were investing in.
Right.
And I'm not going to say you knew. Some people really didn't know.
Right.
They really didn't know.
Right.
But if you were educated, maybe you would have known this wasn't a good idea.
Right.
If you were educated, you could have told the advisor, yes, this sounds good, but what if it sounds too good to be true? It probably
too good to be. Maybe Bernie Madoff wouldn't have happened.
It probably is. So it's too good to be true. Sometimes it is. So the thing is this: if you educate yourself, they can't run game on you. They're not gonna BS you if I'm talking to a client, the best thing I could say sometimes is, no, I don't want to do that because of this and this reason.
Because they educated on it. They're educated on it. They did research.
Yeah.
They did research. Wow.
So if you do everything I say, I can control you.
Right. And I can control your money.
Yeah. But if you give me feedback and pushback and you don't want to participate in everything, it shows a healthy relationship. But it's because you're educated. So by educating yourself, even before you get an advisor, some people say, yeah, I have a money manager. They do everything for me. There's nothing wrong with that. But you should still educate yourself so that they don't take advantage. How many stories we hear about celebrities and their financial advisors or their brokers or their accountants or their agents took advantage of them? Why? Because they didn't know. Now, I'll tell you one thing. You need to work.
Usain Bolt just lost like $12 million.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Usain Bolt, he just lost like $12 million because his financial advisors took his money without him knowing. Yeah.
See? So what I'll say is this: you saying call me. I'm joking. but on a serious note, there's a quote we have, and it's trust but verify. Trust but verify. Right. Yeah, I trust you with this task. You're my money manager. You're my financial advisor. You have my assets. I know you meant verify. Pull up the statements. Let's have an annual meeting. How's everything working? You need to check on top of your people. I work with individuals, and there's times where I've trusted them blindly, and that's when things go wrong. You need to always check what's happening. You need to, even though you delegate, you have to come back and look over the information. How are my statements doing? What's my returns? Why is this happening? Why is that happening? Ask questions. Educate yourself on what's going on so that you understand what's going on. Because the worst thing that can happen is you don't understand, and then you get taken advantage of.
How do you feel about right now? And I noticed this with like the big investment firms right now because of AI. They have the robo investors. Like they have, I guess, an algorithm that you put the money in, and the algorithm decides where the money goes as opposed to an actual person.
Well, what I'll say is this. AI is new. AI is shown to be advantageous, and it's helping us make a lot of decisions. It's too soon to say, to tell you I feel that it's better or worse, because you don't know, because then there's other people who have, alternative feelings about AI. Oh, AI is going to take over the world, it's going to, destroy humans. So some people think it's dangerous, some people think it's great. I think it all depends on you and your situation.
Right.
If it can help increase your efficiency and make better decisions, I still think there has to be oversight no matter what happens.
Right.
So even if an AI is involved, there has to be someone trusting but verifying and checking on and managing and overseeing the work of what's going on with AI. That's what I would say.
You should have at least a contact person you can pick the phone up and call and say, hey, look,
But to me, the answer is it depends.
Right.
It depends, because every situation is different. There's no situation where it's universally the best for. It depends. They have self-driving cars that have accidents.
Right. That's right.
So
You have
AI, did the AI work on that car? Does that mean the self-driving cars will never happen? No. Does that mean that situation wasn't the best situation? Possibly. But AI or I'm not saying AI drove the car. I'm saying you have self-driving vehicles. You have things that are trying to automate. That doesn't always mean it's the best. So it all depends on the situation.
Right.
That's what I would say. I mean, that's
because it seems like if you got I'll say a limited amount of funds, if you're not coming in $25,000, $50,000, $100,000 with investing, it seems like most investment firms are saying, okay, we'll take your $5,000, but we're going to put it in this robo type of investing type deal. And I don't know if that works for them or not, because I know that, again, you don't have a lot of control over that. If you put it in this algorithm and they decide what you do, which I know for a fact, that's what Charles Schwab does with my Dollar Tree investment. I know it's all robo. Even though they send me an email every 3 months, hey, do you have any questions? Contact this person. And I've never done it because I never had a reason to, because again, I set it and forget it. Like it's there, it's growing, it's not for me, it's for my wife. And the same way with the Acorn account, it's not for me, it's for my wife. And again, like I mentioned, that we get ready to diversify even more, because my wife is younger than me, her life expectancy is more than mine. So right now, what I'm trying to do is set up a future for her. You know what I'm saying? and even for my children, because my children are included in my life insurance. You know what I mean? So, and I think those are things that unfortunately a lot of us don't think about. We live for the moment. You know, we have this fear of missing out, not knowing that these are things that, especially if you have children, or even if you're planning on having children, conversations that need to be made as far as investing in permanent life insurance. I'm gonna look that up tonight when we get off the call. Like I'm gonna, because right now I know I have term life.
Yeah.
But I need to switch that up to permanent. Like,
well, there's times where term can be convertible to permanent.
Okay.
So you might not have to switch it up or cancel. You might be able to convert it. It all depends. Like, so whenever you ask me about something, I say it depends. I have to take a look at it, see what you have.
You always tell me that though. You always say it depends. You always say that.
Because it's not that this is for sure.
Right.
If you look at it and it's like, you go to the doctor. Can this work for me? It depends. You might have some side effects. You might have something that doesn't work. You might have something that does work. So
right. You always say that though.
It's the truth.
Right. Yes.
Oh yeah, because it depends on the situation. I mean, things could be a lot better, it could be a lot worse. It depends.
Right.
But when you think about the investing, you have to think about, you have to have your thesis, you have to have your why, you have to understand the things that impact your investment. Outside of the Fed, do you know who the Fed is? Do you know why the Fed decisions on rates or things can impact your money?
Right.
You have to understand the pitfalls of the investing, because there's risk associated with every investment.
That's right.
You have to understand the upside. You have to understand why you're investing in a particular space and what you think will happen. You have to have the money to lose. You can't invest, you have to invest money you can afford to lose or risk, because you're risking your assets. That's why they call it different risk assets.
Right.
They didn't call it different safe assets.
Right.
It's a risk asset class, like, but you take a certain amount of risk for your reward.
They even do that with Acorn, with the app Acorn. Yeah. They ask you to assess your risk, like
risk profile, right?
Highest risk to moderate to low. What
conservative, moderate, aggressive.
That's right.
So if you're a conservative, they can't put it. They're not supposed to put you in aggressive investments.
Right.
And vice versa. So you have to know your risk profile, your time horizon. Time horizon means if you need the money in a year, don't invest it for 10 years.
Right. So you got penalties if you take their money out.
You're not liquid, and now you need the money, but you're not liquid. So you have to understand your risk profile, your time horizon. You have to understand why you're. There's so much that goes into. People try to gamify investing. You see what happened with, I was just watching a movie and they're talking about it with GameStop. And all these stuff.
I watched that movie.
So I lived through when the GameStop craze was happening.
I remember
everybody was talking.
That was a great movie. Movie.
But their thesis behind why they did what they did made total sense.
They was passionate about it. They were very passionate. Yeah.
So, they had a reason why. They identified a strategy, a target. And once you come together with enough buying power, buying volume, you can overcome selling pressure and vice versa. Right. So that's what they did. They bought it. They bought more than what the institution was selling, and eventually had to close their positions. And when you close a position, you have to buy it back, which created more buying pressure, and the stock went up.
Right.
It sounds like Chinese. So people I don't know what I'm talking about. If you want to know more, if you want to get a one-on-one session, if you want, you reach out to Tim Gordon, reach out to Mo. They'll set up a one-on-one session, and we'll really take a deeper dive.
So I ask you a question. What is your opinion?
The most in-depth.
What is your opinion on these social media gurus that talk about stocks and stock investment, and you should put your money in this, you should put your money in that? And there's a bunch of them out there. The Master Investor, the Wall Street Trapper, Earn Your Leisure. It's a bunch of people out there that actually tell you you need to put your money in this stock, but they don't explain to you why you should do it. They don't explain to you that it's a long-term game. They don't explain to you that you may not see profit from this for years to come. They make it seem as though you put your money in now, and next week you're going to be a multimillionaire.
Well, what I would say to that is it goes back to my "it depends" reference, because I've seen a lot of different people. Now, what I would say is this: because financial education is not taught in schools, it's not enough conversations happen.
Right.
You know, everyone speaks to a different person and different. Like I'm from Miami-Dade County, Florida, and whenever you say Miami and you say Dade County, people who know there's a difference.
There's a difference, right?
But I sidestep everything to get where I'm at, and that doesn't mean I don't know what's going on. I'm not aware. I'm not a part of it.
Right.
But I'm not. You know, I'm getting busy and I'm doing what I need to do to take care of my family and my community every day. Right. There's not enough conversations happening in this space, because if it's just two of us, we're addressing a certain audience, then they're addressing a certain audience. And we need to have more and more of these conversations. So I commend EYL. I love, you know, Ian. I'm watching Ian Dunlap. I'm seeing what's out there. Not everybody who says things doesn't mean you should follow everything you say. And I say to anyone, no matter what they tell you, trust or verify. Don't follow anyone blindly. Always ask questions.
Right.
However, I'm happy that the conversations are happening. Right. I'm happy that you have I met the guys from EYL before they launched. It had to have been 2017 around a Christmas time. I saw them at a party. They're talking about launching EYL and doing their thing. And I'm so proud of them, what they're doing, because it opens up the doors for more things to happen. However,
it creates the conversation.
Yeah, so it creates the conversation. That doesn't mean that they're always right. That doesn't mean that they're going to be always wrong. It depends. So having more conversations, informing people, bringing that to the forefront of our culture and our community is important. But I will tell you this: you shouldn't be listening to everybody.
Right.
You know, and the cool thing is this: because I'm licensed, there are things I can say that they can't. And there's things that they can say that I can't publicly. I can't publicly say certain things, so I'm restricted, and they can speak freely.
Right.
So they can give you certain information. Obviously, I'm a professional in the space, an actual, you know, individual, like you said, stockbroker on Wall Street. I'm living this. I'm not talking about it. I'm living it.
And I think the information you get will be from a different source. Than where they get it from.
Yes and no. I mean, we get similar information. I may get it from a different source. I might have more information because I'm immersed in the information on a regular basis. So, you know, we had this quote on Wall Street: I hear more on my elevator ride up than you hear all year or all week or whatever. So, it's a lot of stuff. It's funny, but, you know, when you start off in a business, you're where the movers and shakers and the deal makers are. Right. And you're hearing why they do what they do, or you're seeing, so your access, you're exposed, but it has to be public, it has to be fair. It can't be, you know, things that give you a competitive advantage outside of being a professional. So as a professional, I know how to internalize and take in information and act accordingly, but it just means I'm a professional in space. I do this for a living.
Right.
And what we need to do is more, you know, instead of competition, collaboration. You know, EYL needs to have you on there talking about credit. They should bring you up and have you speaking to different people about what you're doing and from your space. Because I know we spoke about my story, but your story is inspirational too. I mean, listen, man, I'm sorry. Look, there's some people who could build it up, and if they lost it, it's over. You built it, lost it, built it, lost it, and did it over and over and over again. And now you're doing it again.
Yes, sir.
And it's the greats that can, you know, what they call it, where you have a different iteration of yourself.
Right.
So you're always recreating yourself and adapting, and it's social Darwinism, adapt or die.
Right.
You adapt in every situation, you make your moves, and then you boss up.
So I want to give you the last couple of minutes or whatever for your closing statement.
If anyone has any questions, you know, that I could answer, I'll try my best to answer it as in depth and detail as possible, you know, per my restrictions, and whatever I can do to help. And if not, then we can set up one-on-one sessions.
Absolutely. Hey guys, thank you for showing up tonight. We're going to post this on YouTube. You can go and see it at your leisure. Thank you for being here. We're going to do this once a month with my brother, the real Wall Street Trapper. I love you, man. Thank you.